All right, what's going on? Cool. I guess that's what's going on.
Yeah, this is actually pretty cool because it's a little bit different now. We get to talk to each other and
Talk to each other.
versus talking right at a camera.
Yeah. I mean, I still talk at you
I
when
mean
we
that's
do
very
these
true.
unboxings.
That, and they get a little nice like, oh, that's actually
Yeah.
what actually happened. You know?
They can see both of us at the same time
Yeah.
rather than me yelling at you outside the camera.
Right. So yeah, we're on something new. I guess we just say like, hey, yo, this is Brandon Griggs, Keynote Comics, here with SLan the Man.
What's going on?
And yeah,
I don't get my own
basically-
camera, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, you got a cam. You get to be
Right.
the superstar today.
Right. But yeah, no, just bringing something new to the channel. We were trying to get out of the whole thing of just doing unboxings and just expect more different content. I guess what we would just call this is,
Yeah.
and this is where we're just gonna simply have discussions about comics and comic related subjects.
Listen, folks, there's nothing wrong with two black men sitting at a table in front of comic books discussing comic books,
Looking at each other's eyes.
looking into each other's eyes,
Yeah.
talking mostly about today, at least, what we see behind Brandon on this second shelf right here,
Yeah.
CGC graded comic books.
I mean, I don't want to really make it, directly on.
Grading in
CGC.
general.
Grading,
Yes, exactly. Grading in general.
So yeah, today's thing, all about grading. I guess the whole concept of, is grading necessary?
Right.
I'll be on like Facebook, comic book pages and or what you call it, comic book pages.
Yeah,
groups.
yeah.
There we go. And online, and then I'll see all kinds of things about people complaining about their books, how they were graded and stuff like that, and it just brings the question of, is grading necessary?
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, to me, it's like it's a hit or miss. You're either, it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing.
Right.
And the reason why it's a bad thing is that at the end of the day, what a third party grades your book is going to affect the value of the grade.
Yeah.
I mean, or of the book,
It's
like,
a pro and a con, right?
Exactly. But I mean, in my honest opinion, like for grading to me is like, I feel like it's more necessary with the older books. I feel like grading should be to preserve that art. I've had people that say like, oh, I don't understand why people collect comic books. I think it's dumb. And I'm kind of like, well, I mean, you can say that, but it's like, it's no different than, people spending a bunch of money on like expensive paintings. You get your Basquiat's
Right.
and your Van Goghs and stuff. And like, to me, it's like the same thing. You're preserving art. You're paying for that art. It's original. It's history.
It's like a combination of original artwork and original manuscripts at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's honestly how I look at it. This is the things that, we're in this age, and, we're 90s babies. So it's just like we grew up on those, comic book superheroes being a big part. And
Yeah.
especially with the whole blow up of comics in the 90s and how, people were buying, just because the simple fact that this could be the next Action Comics.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what I want to say is just like, it brings us to this whole thing where, should there be a change in, the grading system?
Mhm.
We have questions where there's a lot of new books being put out and they're presented at 9.8s, and usually 9.8s or 9.8s are the standard for the high tier, but we know that there's 9.9s and there's 10s.
Yeah.
And so if you're saying that this book is that, should we really have the 9.9s and the 10s existing?
Right.
Or should there be more books that should be 9.9s or 10s?
Right.
And still to this day, we're seeing they're progressing more, but there's still a low amount of them that we're just like, yo, this is really rare when we see a 9.9 or a 10.0. But it means like, should there be a change in the system where the customers or consumers are more aware of why their book is set the way it is. Like, we have the graders notes, but maybe there could be graders notes, and then it's like a scale where there's like, all right, because your book had this is how many points we had to deduct or
Yeah.
whatever, and then you know exactly why you're receiving what you're receiving.
Like if they had a specific point system for deductions, like
Exactly.
spine ticks is 1 point off because
Yes.
so and so,
Right.
Color break and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They start doing that, that'll be a big game changer. And that's not just for PGX, that's like across the board. I feel
Right.
like everyone should honestly start doing that. I think that should have been a standard in the beginning because, you know, CGC has in their what is it? Not contract. What is it?
Like terms of service?
Yeah, there we go. With terms of service, like that's not necessarily a thing that they have to give to you when they grade their
Right.
grade your books. It's usually more for you know, you get the paper grading back with your books if you have a paid subscription with them. You can call and sometimes it'll be pretty friendly and like be like, hey, yeah, I mean, this is supposed to be for, you know, paying, you know, subscription customers, but if it's like one book that they usually don't mind just,
Right.
you know, telling. So like that's one of the things I've enjoyed with my experience with them. But I do feel like that should be something that they should start doing consistently. I feel like that should be a part of the process.
Mhm.
They might have to cut back on their you know, how many books they're taking in from people,
Right.
to really be able to give you that quality to be able to do all that. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like if more modern books are getting pressed, you hopefully it's not going to be lower than a 9.0.
Yeah.
I mean, there are definitely some books that end up like that for the newer books, but for the most part, they're usually in pretty decent condition.
There are little subtle things that exist with comic book grading that people just don't know, like color leak on the pages. Like when you buy a comic book, you didn't turn it to page 12 to see if the color faded off of the page or if there was a color bleed on the page or anything like that. You kind of just look at the front and the back and you're like, all right, we're good. And that's what a lot of novice people will do when they grab raw books. So
I'm guilty.
Yeah, I mean, we're young. We're
still learning.
Still learning. Yeah, so like exactly. Like remember when I opened up the Teen Titans 44, and I was like,
right, and the bleeding.
Yeah, because I mean that was listed as near mint, and I don't know if it's gonna get graded as near mint. The outside still looks great, but
the edges are
all
fine.
of this, all the stuff in the inside, who knows? Like, so.
And exactly, we don't know, and that's a concern. So like if that is a thing, we should get graders notes so then next time when we receive that back, we'll know, and then we'll be like, all right, this is what we need to look out for. We don't know what we're looking for.
We're kind of just guessing at this point.
I mean, we don't know what they're looking for. So
we're just like, there's spine ticks. All right, there's color breaking. We know those are bad things, but we don't know what else is really truly bad.
Right.
Or how much is going to be taken off. Because if you look at it, like older books with spine ticks will still get graded like a 9.6 and stuff because they're older books. Whereas it's not going to be the same for a newer book because grading is different. But if they had some type of scale, like you said, it would be perfect for everybody because you'd be like, all right, this book came out before 1980, so I know that I could get away with this, this, and this.
Exactly.
But this is unacceptable.
Yeah. And which that brings me to the Dark Knight Metal issues that we got in. We did the unboxing for that, and the book that I didn't think would be a 9.6 came back a 9.6, and the ones I thought would be a 9.6 or a 9.8 were lower than that. And I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense because I literally took a what was it? The Batman Dark Knight's Master Race issue, which was late signature series 9.6 that I purchased from Reese's Rare Comics. And I'm sitting here looking at this book and we're seeing all these flaws. So we look at the Dark Knight Metal books and we're just like, there's no way that these books will be lower than this book right here. And then we get them back and they're just like, all right, one's the same, which makes no sense because quality is way better. So it's like, once again, we don't know what they're looking at. And, there's the whole situation where people are complaining that there's no consistency, and kind of experiencing that a little bit. Now, not to complain, people want to say that it's grading subjective, but as long as this has been going on, once again, CGC has been around since 2000.
Mm-hmm.
We have PGX at 2002. We have a whole bunch of new companies coming in the game. Is there a time for change with grading where we won't have to say it's subjective anymore?
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a standard. We'll have an idea of what, to grade our books ourselves. And then when we ship them off, we know exactly what we have.
Right. I mean, hopefully that day comes.
I mean, we'll see.
So do you think anything is going to rival CGC, in the next coming years?
That was something I did want to discuss. Honestly, I don't know. People are really sold on CGC.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that CBCS could become that next wave, but at the same time, I'm not sure. Like, there's still things that CBCS has to, get together. Is it We Love Comics? Yeah, We Love Comics. What he was just saying, and if you don't know what it is, there's a comic channel, We Love Comics, and we're subscribed to them. Check him out. Basically, he was saying that he was, he's sponsored by he has some of his videos sponsored by PGX.
Yeah.
He convinced them or talked to them, was like, hey, you guys should actually start making graders notes a regular thing with when people get their stuff slabbed.
Right.
And who knows? I mean, PGX has a bad history, but it was an underdog doesn't mean that it can't change and improve.
Mm-hmm.
If they start doing this, their grading starts to become more accurate, and then people start, popping out PGX stuff and resubmitting to CGC and still getting the same grade.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, that's a game changer.
That could happen for the comic book industry if the community backs PGX or CGC or any of these other third-party graders.
And I mean, for the most part,
or just let me grade your books. Everything's a 6 out of 9.
Yeah. What else? I guess. Oh, okay. So one of the things we're definitely gonna do when we head out to Baltimore Comic-Con for they're basically going to be doing on-site grading there. We're going to do a little video. We're going to pick the books that we're going to get submitted for the on-site grading. Mm-hmm. We're going to give you guys a before shot, and then we're going to give you the after of what it came out to be. So I have several books, that I honestly feel for a fact should be a 9.8 or higher. So we're going to do the video. We're going to show you guys. And if it doesn't, then I guess we'll be back and have another discussion about this.
Right.
So, yeah. Thanks for tuning. For those that have subscribed, thank you for subscribing. Make sure you hit that like button if you like the content. If you haven't, make sure you do that. And make sure you subscribe, and make sure you also hit the notification button so when we put out new stuff, you'll be able to check it out immediately. Once again, I'm Brandon Griggs.
I'm Shahir Lanier.
Not SLan the man.
I'm SLan.
SLan. And this is Keynote Comics. Thanks for watching.